Hello, editing Katie here. I just want to profusely apologize for the sheer speed at which I'm about to speak to you at. It's fast, and I'm really sorry if you struggle to keep up, but that's me just struggling to keep up with my brain. When I'm really anxious or nervous, which I am when I film these videos, I talk a lot and I talk real fast. So yeah, just be prepared for that. I'm really sorry, and next time I will do my best to take some deep breaths beforehand so I'm a little more centered and a little less erratic. Hello, it is your favorite sporadic booktuber. It has, as always, been a while. I am not the most reliable when it comes to uploading videos, but I have missed you, I promise. And I have been wanting to film a video, but I just had no idea what to post. And then I got into a reading slump and I was like, well, there is no point posting if I feel like I'm not reading, because what other content would I be giving you? But then I read a few really, really good books and I just felt so excited about them that I had to tell you. And then I bought a few books that I'm really excited to read, and I also want to share them with you. So I was like, great, we finally have an idea. So yeah, first of all, I'd like to talk about a few books that I read recently that just got me out of a slump and just made me because when I'm in a slump, it's not that I'm not reading, I'll still continue to read, but I won't have that kind of hunger to really sit down and dive deep into a book and be looking forward to it all day and that sort of thing. It's just kind of okay, I'll do this thing, I'll go through the motions, because I really am a habitual person. Sorry, my dog's barking on the balcony. I really am a habitual person and I will always read, but sometimes I go through little dips where I'm not feeling this, but I'm still glad I do it. From my mind, I'm still glad I read. But then I read a few books. So I read The Other Side, A Journey into Women, Art and the Spirit World by Jennifer Higgie. And one of my goals for this year was to read more art criticism, and this fit the bill perfectly. If you're at all interested in dynamic women and art history and spirituality and seances, and if you consider yourself an artistic person or a spiritual person, then I feel like this book might be for you. It is nonfiction, and it is a look at art history with a lens of feminism and looking at kind of forgotten or not artists that weren't given enough attention during their time. And I really loved it. There was quite a few artists that popped up that I really like. One of them being Hilma Afklund. We love Hilma. And just kind of these women who had radical artistic practices that didn't get the recognition that they deserved, and the art that they created was wonderful, weird, and just just really important. And so I feel when I'm looking at art history and art criticism, I always want to be looking at it through a lens of the marginalized groups in society, because it's always, historically it's been written by and about white men. And so this book does a really, really good job of making sure to include women, artists of color, and just really interesting people that I feel if you're anything like me, you will eat this up and it will inspire you a lot, especially if you're an artist. You'll want to delve into your practice after reading this, I think. I don't know about anybody else, but if you are somebody who posts content on YouTube or maybe on Instagram or whatever platform you use, do you get anxious doing it? Because literally my heart is racing right now and I feel out of breath, and it's simply because I'm anxious to be talking to my camera. It feels so unnatural. And Ben from Benjamin Journal, we have texted each other about this a few times because we're both trained performers. That is what we do. We both work in front of a camera quite often, and we both love working in front of a camera. But when it comes to like being ourselves in front of the camera and not embodying a character and not, you know, performing, oh my God, it's so daunting. I find it really, really hard. Anyway, I want to get less nervous about doing this, so I'm just powering through. Another book I read and absolutely loved. A couple of years ago, I think it was summer 2021, I want to say, I read a poetry collection called Averno by Louise Glück and loved it. And I didn't know that she wrote any prose, but she has this gorgeous little novella, like it's so tiny, called Marigold and Rose. And this is one of the sweetest things I've ever read. Like, it is immediately a favorite book of mine. It's about the year in the life of twin girls, like the first year in the life of twin girls. And maybe this really hit home for me, being an identical twin. So me and my twin sister, maybe I was looking through it at that lens and felt like very connected to what was being written, especially because one of the twins was so interested in words and stories and wanting to communicate. But yeah, this book just feels like so tender, so sweet. There's like a little bit of like sadness in there about the realizations that you begin to have, and also the want and the need to communicate and not really understanding things. But I was like, okay, obviously I want to read it because it's about twin babies and I was a twin baby. But the voice that she cultivates between these two characters, Marigold and Rose, is just like, I found them absolutely irresistible. Like, they're so beautiful, and it's very, very short. So yeah, I would recommend this if you want something a little bit sweet. Okay, then do I have it here? Oh. Sorry, my dog got a bit excited. So the next book I want to recommend, I did as an audiobook, and it was the best like narration I've ever experienced with an audiobook. It was They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us by Hanif Abdurraqib, and it was everything I love in a nonfiction. So it's a collection of essays, and it's mostly like music and cultural criticism, and you can tell that he has a lot of experience writing about these things. Like they're so they're done so well from a criticism perspective, and I know he does a lot of music criticism, but within that, like, it's just imbued with this like personal side. So it's like blended with memoir, but it blends seamlessly. I just thought that it was like just perfect. It felt so heartfelt, so honest, so just like good. Like, it was good writing. And I realized that he is a poet, so maybe that's why the writing was so good, because I feel like poets, when they write prose, there's like an extra level of consideration when it comes to like the stringing of words together, and that really came across in his narration, because the rhythm of the words and the cadence of his voice, like, it really drew out the musicality of it all, and it was just like a wonderful experience. It's incredibly moving, and I think if you like cultural criticism, then it's definitely an essay collection that you should get your hands on. I think it was actually Sophie from Sophie that turned me on to this one, and I can't thank her enough, because it was honestly just such a great experience listening to that book. Am I talking too fast? I feel like I'm like racing with my words. I need to slow it down a little bit. Okay. I'm also just really excited because we finally have sun. Like, it's like mid-April, like past mid-April, and we finally have sun. It has been so grey, so miserable, And today was the first day that there was sunshine on my skin and there felt like a little bit of warmth, and honestly it felt magical. So maybe I'm like a little bit high off that, I don't know. Okay, next I want to share with you a little stack of books that I got recently. So this one, The Book of All Loves by Agustín Fernândez Mallo, is a book that I'm about to start buddy reading with my friend Mika, and it sounds so interesting. It sounds like it's all about communication and like sharing affection via words. And actually, I'm just going to read you the blurb. So it's translated fiction. It's translated by Thomas Bunstead. I've read a translation that he's done before. It was Optic Nerve by Maria Genza, and that was good. So I think this will be good because, well, the premise is really interesting, and Fitzcarraldo only published good books, I've realized. In the wake of the Great Blackout, faced with near extinction of humanity, a pair of lovers speak to each other. They parse with precision, with familiarity, the endless aspects of their love. Out of their dialogues, piece by piece, a composite image of love takes form, one that moves outwards, beyond the realm of relationships and into metaphysics, geology, linguistics, AI. Now, are you seeing why I would love this? It's like all about words, all about communication. Years previously, a writer and her husband, a Latin professor, stay in Venice while she works on a text. As they roam the city, strange occurrences accumulate, signaling that the world around them is heading towards a point of no return. Blending fiction and essay, poetry and philosophy, all of my favorite things. Agustín Fernândez Mallo's The Book of All Loves is a startling, expansive work of imaginative agility, one that renders love unfamiliar so as to renew it, and makes the case for hope in the midst of a disintegrating presence. Like, sounds great. I can't wait to get into it. And then some more nonfiction, which, okay, not off topic, but like tangent. I checked my story graph the other day just to like check all my reading stats, see where I'm at, what I'm doing, and I'm usually about 75% to 70% fiction compared to like 25%-ish for nonfiction. Like, I'm a literary fiction person at heart. I love a novel, but lately I checked it and it was like 49% non-fiction to 51% fiction, and so that's where I'm at this year. Like, I want to learn, I want to be educated, and so yeah, I picked up How to Think Like a Woman, 4 women philosophers who taught me how to love the life of the mind by regan penaluna. Yeah, I just fancied some philosophy because why not, and through a lens of which philosophy hasn't usually been told. So the blurb for this one: an exhilarating account of the lives and works of influential feminist philosophers who have been written out of history. As a young woman growing up in a small town, regan penaluna daydreamed about big questions. In college, she fell in love with philosophy. What she didn't realize was that it would slowly ground her down through its devaluation of women and their minds, until she discovered the great female thinkers who'd been there all along. Great, can't wait, sounds brilliant. Also, if I was in charge of all book design, like, I would ban blurbs on the front. This ruins it. Like, keep the blurbs to the back or the inside of the book. Like, it just ruins like the flow of a cover. It annoys me. Like, it really does annoy me. Then, after loving Marigold and Rose and loving Averno, I had to pick up more Louise Glück, and this is her collection, The Wild Iris, and has a gorgeous cover of an iris petal. When I was in high school, I got really obsessed with irises actually, and my advanced art folio was just like full of like paintings of irises, like really abstract ones or like really like cropped ones, and in lots of shades of like purples and blues and like kind of dusky mauves and things, and I got like really obsessed with irises. Anyway, I think this will be great because she's just a writer that I love, and I don't read enough poetry, and I say this at the start of every year that I will read more poetry, and it doesn't really happen, and I'm honestly not sure why, because whenever I do read poetry, I feel like, oh, I needed this. Like, I'm so glad I'm doing this. So I'm not sure why I don't do it more often, and I'm not sure what the answer is to try and get myself to do it more often, but I am looking forward to reading this. Okay, we could read one together. This one's called The Red Poppy. The great thing is not having a mind. Feelings, oh, I have those. They govern me. I have a Lord in heaven called the sun, and open for him, showing him the fire of my own heart, fire like his presence. What could such glory be if not a heart? Oh, my brothers and sisters, were you like me once long ago, before you were human? Did you permit yourselves to open once, who would never open again? Because in truth, I'm speaking now the way you do. I speak because I'm shattered. I think I'm going to have a good time with this. So next is Prairie Dresses Art Other by Danielle Dutton. This is by a publisher that I really like called Prototype. They do like good sized books and their covers feel good. But yeah, I'll read you the blurb of this one. In Prairie Dresses Art Other, Danielle Dutton imagines new models for how literature might work in our fractured times. Do I need to read more? Like, that sounds brilliant. Prairie is a cycle of surreal stories set in the quickly disappearing prairie land of the American Midwest, replete with wildflowers, ominous rivers, fireflies, cattle lowing, and ghostly apparitions. Dresses paints a wild and moving portrait of literary fashions. Art is an imaginative illustrated essay which explores the relationship between fiction and visual art. And Other offers an assemblage of irregular stories and essays that are hilarious or heartbreaking by turns. Out of these varied materials, Dutton brings a haunting landscape of wildflowers, megadams, black holes, violence, fear, virtual reality, abiding strangeness, and indefinable beauty. Sign me up. This sounds great. And then lastly, a book that I have wanted since it was announced, and then it came out in hardback, and I do not buy hardbacks. One, because hardbacks are so annoying. I'm lying because, excuse me for lying. This is a hardback, but this is a good size of a book. Like, it's not cumbersome. It's not going to like annoy me to take this anywhere. It's still very like easy to read. But like big hardbacks, like I can't deal with them. Like I get really annoyed with them. And so I waited and I waited, because also, who can afford to buy brand new hardbacks? They are so expensive. I very, very, very rarely, buy books brand new. I mostly buy my books secondhand, but I will very rarely buy a new book. And if I do, I usually wait until it's gone into paperback. And it did. Lauren Elkin's Art Monsters. I cannot wait to read this. So again, this is me feeding the art criticism that I need. For decades, feminist artists have confronted the problem of how to tell the truth about their experiences as bodies. Queer bodies, sick bodies, racialized bodies, female bodies. What is their language? What are the materials we need to transcribe it? Exploring the ways in which feminist artists have taken up this challenge, Art Monsters is a landmark intervention in how we think about art and the body, weaving daring links between disparate artists and writers, from Juliet Margaret Cameron's photography, which I love, to Kara Walker's silhouettes, Vanessa Bell's portraits, to Eva Hess's rope sculptures. Lauren Elkin shows that their work offers a potent celebration of beauty and excess, sentiment and touch, the personal and the political. This sounds right up my street. I'm so glad that I waited for it, because I feel like I will be so deeply satisfied when I finally get around to reading it. And the cover is so good. Genevieve Figgis' blue eyeliner. It's so good. Yeah, so that's my recently read kind of recommendations for you, and also new books that I'm very excited to read. Thank you for bearing with me whilst I post so sporadically. I want to film more videos for you. I just find it honestly I find it so nerve-wracking, but it's something that I want to do, and I kind of just have to force myself through it. I really do think that if I did it more often, I'd be more comfortable with it, but I don't let that happen for some reason. If there is like any kind of video that you would like me to film, then please let me know. I would be so open to suggestions, and I'll see what I can do. I think I've kind of done away with doing monthly wrap-ups because they felt like homework, and it really like, my brain was like, no, like it just felt like the pressure to do something. And yeah, I also just kind of got bored of them. Yeah, I wasn't really enjoying doing them, so I was like, you don't have to do them, and so I stopped. But if there is a certain type of video that you'd like me to film, then let me know, and I will do what I can to, meet your requests. Within reason. If you suggest something and I don't like it, I'm probably not going to do it. But I would love to hear from you. And please tell me, okay, the book you read most recently that you would like highly recommend, and also the next book that you're like super excited about reading. So yeah, your most recent recommendation and your like hot next read. I want to hear about them, and I will hopefully, fingers crossed, everything crossed, hopefully I will see you soon. But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. It honestly does mean a lot that you want to listen to me ramble. Everyone around me in my life is like, she's talking about books again, but I'm so glad I have you to listen to me, because I love when we get chatting in the comments. I love when you message me on Instagram. I love when we chat books. So until next time,